if somebody comes in with executive function into the office. I developed a 3-tier model, and the first drill usually lasts somewhere between a month or two, depending on how strong the student is. So what I do is I put up 5 words on the whiteboard, and right here you see turtle, frog, tree, fish, and flower. So sometimes I will have different words with all different beginning letters. And then, as you can see, turtle, tree are similar, frog, fish, and flower, right? So what happens is they see these, and then I put the whiteboard eraser in front of them. I said, okay, you have the power. Erase this when you think you can remember it. And what they have to do is remember it, and then write it in order as they saw it on the board, okay? Now, the goal is for them to be able to hold that information up to 20 minutes. In between, I am playing like memory games with them. We might go for a walk and I'm talking to them. So first session, usually this happens, they put it up on the board. I'm like, okay, so what are you doing after school today? Or what are you gonna do for the rest of your day? Nothing. I hear not a peep from them, and they're like so concentrated because they don't want to lose the information, right? So I had one kid, we would walk up and get donuts because he really liked donuts, and he came to me first thing in the morning before school. It was 7 o'clock, and I was like, you know what, buddy, you totally, the fact that you can get here on time and do this before school, let's go get a donut. First week he wouldn't say one word to me until we got back, and he'd be like, oh, okay, I got this now. And he put it on the board and he's like, I'm going to answer all your questions now. So he could remember everything I said to him, but he was so fixated on this. Why this matters is because this is that visual. Remember I was telling you at the beginning about the different forms of input that they have to think about. So these are the visual inputs. If you write stuff on a board and they're in college or in school with you guys and they need to remember visual information, this is what happens. And so normally it takes about 2 months on a severe case for them to complete the first tier of this. We start out by somewhere between 5 to 7 minutes, and then we work into the span. It's very fascinating to see, and when they do reach this, at the end of this level, they're super excited. It's very fun for them. Now, when kids leave at the very beginning of this, they are very tired. A lot of parents will tell me that they've had emotional meltdowns. And when they're doing this drill work, they don't feel like they've done anything until after they leave. Because what it's doing is it's rebuilding the neurons, which I'll show you a picture of after. Second tier of this is I put a sentence on the board. So it's more than just one, it's usually 1 or 2 sentences. And so now they have to remember more. So this could be like, today's the first day of spring, I hope we don't have any more snow, right? And so then they'll do the same thing and they erase it. This tier usually is the easiest for them because they've just worked so hard at remembering. They've learned some type of tools, but the muscle is already strong. I kind of relate these as, decide you want to run your first 5K, right? You start really slow and you're working those muscles, and then by the first 5K you've done, you're now running that 3 mile and you're feeling okay. And this is where they're at. They're feeling okay. They're ready to do this level. This is the fastest one. They usually master this within a month. Then we get to the third, and this is I take away all visuals and I tell them words like the first one, the 5 in the row, verbally. And they're like, what? I'm like, yeah, we gotta remember it verbally. Because what happens is that this is that other part, that verbal information, that verbal input. I know in my house, I'll be like, okay, I need you to go upstairs and brush your teeth and make sure you make your bed and bring me down your dirty laundry. You walk up the stairs and they see that shiny ball on the floor and they're like, oh yeah, I gotta brush my teeth. Oh, is that two things I need to do, right? And so this part of the drill work works that piece. And so I'll say to them, okay, tree, frog, flower, what have you. And I'll say it to them 3 times, and I look at them like, Now, during this time, I make sure that we have eye contact. Okay, and so they're seeing the words come out of my mouth, but they also, I know that it's registering. 3 times, and then I said, okay, you got it? Yeah. And so we do the whole thing, play games, I distract them, right? Because in life, there's distractions all the time. In your home, when you're teaching, the phone might be going off, you might have dogs, you might have people coming in and out, you know, you might be doing your own work, right? There's distractions, same as in a classroom. So then they have to write the words in order as what I said to them. Now, verbally they can tell me it, but when they get to the board and they have to write it down, there's a disconnect. And this is a very hard skill for them to master. And it is a connection from the brain all the way to your fingers. It's a physical connection. So physically, when they're erasing the words, they're making that connection. Because they're seeing them and they're physically touching them. That's 2 ways that their senses are in. When you visually, when I'm just saying them to you, there's no physical connection. They haven't, their brain hasn't made that connection. So when they get to the board, they're like, oh wow, now I had it. Can I just say it to you? I'm like, no, you can't just say it to me. It's pretty fascinating to watch. I will tell you that I've had a very cool case that he went through this whole program as the guy I was telling you about with the donuts. He's mastered it. He has graduated from executive functioning treatment. He's been with us for a year now, and it's amazing to watch him be able to be functional in school. This was a kid that was spending 3 to 4 hours a night on homework when it was only an hour worth, right? And becoming very frustrated in school. So it's been great to watch. So now, get to show you the science behind it. Like I told you, I love science. This is your brain. You have the right side, left side. One is more mathematic, one is creative. Have you guys ever heard the term crossing that midline? You gotta get your both sides to connect. And when you have executive functioning, your both sides don't connect. And so the drill work that I do makes that happen. It's pretty fun to watch. I love it, as you can tell. But it's strengthening both sides. All right. I'm going to tell you a couple stories of students of mine, and then this is more for that gifted student. Yeah?
Before you go on, I just have a quick question.
Yeah.
What if you'd like to practice these skills, but you have a child who's not reading yet? Could you use something other than words?
Absolutely.
Like maybe letters or shapes? Or
Letters are great. Recently, how old?
He is almost 7.
Okay.
So he knows his letters. And some words, but not...
You could use numbers.
Okay.
Letters or numbers. Yeah, they don't have to be in words. Also pictures, when you do that, at least pictures are kind of hard because you have to draw them out, but I would do letters or numbers.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Gifted children. You see this a lot with gifted kids. And so I'm going to give you a couple scenarios of gifted children, and then kind of talk about this with you. So I have a student, Billy. He's 3 years old. At 3, he could identify every Thomas the Tank Engine character that appeared on the show. By 4, he figured out how to read on his own. By 5, his obsession with presidents meant that he could tell you every name, birth date, and interesting fact about everyone. I'm not sure about anyone of you in here, but I don't think I could do that, just for the record. Not sure if anyone else could do that. At 7, Billy memorized the chemicals of the periodic table for fun. Okay? When Billy was 11, his parents were surprised to find that he couldn't keep up with school. His papers were a mess, illegible, and were dog-eared or either shoved at the bottom of the backpack. While he completed his homework in record time, he often forgot to turn it in. Billy usually aced quizzes and tests, but when he didn't, he would get a D. His parents struggled to understand why their bright child was unable to do school. My second scenario is Kelsey. At the age of 4, she could read on her own. She could recite any fact of a Greek or Egyptian mythology by the age of 7. By the 4th grade, she started to hate school. She was tested, and her test came back showing that she was 2 grades ahead of herself. Her parents went into the school and said, could we challenge her or get her into gifted and talented? And they said no, because she doesn't reach the top 3% because of her executive functioning skills. She was labeled as often as disheveled, irresponsible for not passing in homework. This is a typical story that I hear often for gifted kids, right? Now, we look at it as, how come they just can't, organize themselves and pass in their homework and do all these things? It's because it's too easy. And too easy has a whole problem in itself. If things are too easy, they're not able to have to use the executive functioning. They, hold on one second. Students are not challenged. They miss out on opportunities to practice critical executive functioning skills. They are more likely to become going away from a risk, not able to tackle challenges that are out of their comfort zone. So imagine that student about Kelsey is my daughter. So imagine being a parent and knowing that your kid can do so much, right? That they're smart. And you show them an opportunity, but because they have to come out of their comfort zone, it's too overwhelming for them. Because in school, everything has come easy. When things come easy, they don't know what that feels like when they have to work at something. So they kind of go away from taking those challenges. So too easy is not a very healthy teaching strategy. At home, when you are building curriculum for your son or daughter, the beauty of homeschooling, which I love, is that just because they might be in 3rd or 4th grade or in middle school, you can make that curriculum as hard as you want or as easy as needed. It's very individualized. That's the beauty of homeschooling. That's why it's become such a big thing in Maine. And it's one of the things that I love to do. You can allow the child to develop age-wise where they're at, but also give them the academics that challenges them, that makes them use those executive functioning skills. So, personalized learning, that's what we do. Personalized learning refers to the instruction in which the pace of learning and instructional approach are optimized. That's what you guys do every day. Be proud of yourself. It's not easy to be a teacher for your child or for yourself. I'm sure when you started having kids, you didn't say, okay, I'm going to be a teacher too. Did you go to school to be a teacher, right? Everybody's a teacher, right? But you're learning along with your son or daughter, right? And sometimes it's not easy. It's not easy to wear multiple hats. We have a really fun video for you that Danny spent a lot of time, and we thought we would add it in.
I had to train that fish.
I know you had to train that fish. I came home one day and I was like, what'd you do all day? Okay, so I want you to leave with some good information today. So there are 6 tips that we're going to chat about. The handout is in the back. If you didn't get it when you came in, don't worry, you can get it on the way out. Also, if you want to set up any time to talk to me, there is some fill-out cards. You can put your name and email on there and put it in the drawing, and just let me know, and I'll be more than happy to send you this slideshow or contact me for any other information that you guys have or at all. So, 6 tips. Teach your child to talk their way through solving problems. It's a skill that is needed throughout life. So as your child gets older, self-talk skills will become more important. Encourage your child to think out loud as they solve logic puzzles and other problems. So for me, I think a lot of people will watch me run down the road and they're probably like, that woman is probably crazy, because I'm talking to myself the whole time, right? I'm trying to figure out what's the next curriculum I'm gonna build, or, you know, problems with my own children that you come across, right? So I usually talk to myself. Now, it's important to tell your kids, okay, well, let's talk this out, because your child's already up in here, right? Their head is so full that they have to get it out. So helping them talk through it, they're like, oh, okay, that might not be so bad. And over time, they learn those skills and are able to use them as adults.
I have a question on that one.
Yeah.
So our son does that a lot, and we always tell him, talk to yourself inside your head, because it gets confusing, and we're like, what do you need? And he's like, no, I'm just talking to myself. And we're like, well, stop it! This is driving us nuts!
Yes.
So how do we structure it where he can talk out loud and process things, but where we're not inundated and totally sidetracked by his constant blah, blah, blah?
That's a good,
Because it's also a huge trigger. My husband has tinnitus, and like outward noises is a massive trigger for him. So having this constant blah, 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 is like just not.
so one word, come up with one word. When it's too much, like my word in the house is excessive. Excessive. And my kids know, okay, that we're tone it down, like I can't process, mom can't process this right now, it's just excessive. Also, having him cue into you, this is important. I'm having this issue and I need to solve it. It's different than I'm processing the game that I just did or what have you, right? These are those like life skill problems, like I don't know how to work through this math problem, or I don't know how to integrate myself into this environment with these other kids. Can I talk to you about that? That's different than what you're talking about, and I sympathize with you. I have that in my house.
Got it. Thank you.
You're welcome. Help your child prioritize. This is that, I always, is it a need or a want? And so sometimes that's hard. Do I really need to go to the store right now, or do I just want to go? Right? Prioritize what needs to get done. Like, you need to try to get through these 2 assignments before you go to the movies with your friends, or, right? Help them prioritize what needs to get done so you can have your alone time, right? We have to do that as adults. Oh man, I gotta go to work today. I gotta do this before I can go and have dinner with my, my partner or what have you, right? Break down steps. They can concentrate on one direction at a time. When you say, go brush your teeth, make your bed, and bring me down your dirty laundry, you know that they've already lost that. So instead of becoming frustrated, say, go brush your teeth. And then when they come back down, go make your bed. They come back down. Okay, now I want your dirty laundry. They can remember that one thing. Okay, same thing goes in when you're doing lessons with your kids. Break it down. I want you to read pages 12 to 13, right? Then give them the next step. Because if you lay all their schoolwork out in front of them, they won't know what to do. Or they'll start something and then start another thing and then another thing, and then nothing gets completed. With my kiddos that I homeschool, they have a checklist. You do 1, 2, 3, 4, and you can't move on to the next one until you've done the first thing. And we still have to break it down even smaller for some of those kids. Yeah.
So is there hope that we can move beyond that? Because
Oh,
in
yes.
the employment world, that doesn't happen.
Yes, there is hope. With executive functioning support, like they have to have treatment and support in order to have that. But yes, there's total hope. But it is a lot of rewiring the brain in order for that to happen naturally. Because you like to think that as they get older that they grow out of some of those things. But without support and early awareness, those are lifelong learned behaviors. And it's very hard for them to change once they get into an adult world. And to go on to that, it also gives them a lot of feeling of failure when they can't hold a job, and what's wrong with me, how come I can't do this, right? And so there's a whole other piece to that, and so yes, there is hope. You just have to give them the skills now so they can do that. Okay, step 4, let them have a break, snack or nap if necessary. So some of you have younger kids that you might be in here listening to this for. I encourage after a certain set of time for them to get up and have some type of break, snack. I have one kiddo that comes to me for homeschooling, and when he does his homeschooling days at home, one day he doesn't take a break. He starts at 9 o'clock in the morning and goes straight through to 2 o'clock. His mom can't get him to stop, which some parents are like, wow, that's fantastic, right? No, because I correct his work, and I can tell when his blood sugar has started to go down, right? Because the quality of work gets very limited. And so we've now put into his schedule, you take a break here, okay? After you've done work for half an hour, please get up and drink some water, come back in a half an hour. It might extend his day a little bit, but it produces quality work, and he feels better about it too. No texting or social media. This is a big one for some kids. Having a phone next to you while you are doing schoolwork is not effective, because kids with executive functioning are very easily distracted. And so the phone going bing, bing, bing can be very distracting. So set times that they can use it. I'm not saying don't use it at all. If that's your, everybody has their feelings on this, but if your child does have an electronic device, set some specific times around it for their school day, so they can focus longer. And then step 6, focus on your child's strengths. I'm going to go back to that hope thing for a minute. This does not define them. It does not define who they are. It is frustrating as a parent, no joke. It's very frustrating. But your child has so many strengths, and if you always focus on the things that they're not doing and that they're not good at, they're going to only identify with that. Your child has strengths. Yes, they might have executive functioning challenges, but there's so many more things about them than just this. So if I can't say anything, is don't only focus on this. It might be crippling in some areas of their life and in your home, but there is hope, and there is something beautiful in every one of us. So find that in your child. Don't focus on just the executive functioning. So yes, there is hope. Any questions? Yeah.
I had a question about, so if you have a child that has PFD and then they have food support and they get treatment,
Yeah.
and that helps to like reestablish those like neural pathways and crossing the midline and everything, is that something that is lifelong and will now be there, or do you have to continue that throughout their life to keep that connection?
That's a good point. You want to continue, you hope that by the time they finish the treatment that those are behaviors that are ingrained now. But like all things, you always need to keep them fresh. So that's where you're integrating those priorities of like how you organize your schoolwork and how time management, those types of things, where it should help keep the neural pathways connected. Does that answer your question?
Yep.
Yeah. Does anyone else have any other questions? Yeah.
Is there an age at which your child is just too old for this work?
So, let me test it out on my husband and I'll tell you. No, I'm just kidding. I like to think, so science is going to tell you different. I would like to think that anyone has the ability to change. And I like to think that the brain has the ability to regenerate itself all the time. It's how you do it. So I don't want to tell you that there's a specific age. Science will tell you yes, adulthood, but I'm going to tell you I think that they're wrong. Anyone else? Yeah?
I know there are like certain exercises, like physical movements you
Yeah.
can do with your child for like crossing the midline.
Yep.
Do you have any suggestions for books or YouTube videos or anything that resources for those kinds of movement activities?
So I don't use a specific YouTube video itself, but there's tons out there. Pinterest has a lot. I use mine mostly with math. Movement with math allows kids to learn math at a faster pace. I also do use it with kids that struggle with dyslexia. I use a program called Linda Mubel. I'm not sure if anyone else has heard of that, but it's Linda Mubel. It's multisensory, and so they're moving their bodies all the time because you're engaging at least 3 senses at one time. I am happy to, if you give me your email, send you some resources.
Okay, yes, thank you.
You're welcome. Anyone else? All right. Thank you guys for coming. I hope this was helpful. And enjoy the rest of the conference. Thank you. Yeah. Oh, okay.